as a journalist, like enterprise DeFi, how do we define that? It's such a new term, but I think what the baseline protocol is bringing is an actual use case of enterprise DeFi.
Yeah, perhaps we can put it in a way that enterprise DeFi is one of the topics or one of the things that actually are possible because there is a baselining technique in place. Because then you can, it's actually exactly what we discussed with Ognjen before. Blockchain-based factoring, for example, is way more valuable and also easier to convince participants to be part of a process if you rely on a common state of a process that is somehow trusted by all participants, that has standards in place, that is integrated well, so it actually covers all this. And then enterprise DeFi is just again, a technique of techniques that you can enable on top of a tokenized asset, like we also at Unibright showed within Unibright Frequency or whatever vendor is out there. So in that case, I think the distinction between DeFi and enterprise DeFi is mostly that it's DeFi concepts building upon some business objects that have reached a common level of trust.
But baseline isn't tokenizing, right? The real key to me of baselining there is I can baseline the event, the work step that goes from a database record like that invoice to whatever tokenization scheme is running. And I can know then that the attributes of that token are verifiably identical to the attributes of the database record that it came from originally. And there's utility in that. I mean, it's boring, but there's usefulness in that. I think that for me clarifies the difference between baselining and cryptocurrency and token economy.
A concrete use case, for example, in the factoring business, is that there is this kind of fraud where a person could try to have a factoring, an invoice financed in multiple companies. And their baseline, which can introduce that you have a shared system of record or a shared state between system of records without exposing the secrets of the business, is a perfect use case to solve that issue. So we want to contribute in order to have a solution that would help in our domain.
But I somehow like Stefan's definition, like enterprise DeFi being something that starts in a, let's say, ERP system, an off-chain system, and then transports into a tokenized representation, and then we have this financial transactions running on a blockchain, and then we somehow perhaps go back to the off-chain system.
I'm sorry, well, absolutely, that's enterprise DeFi. But what I'm trying to say is that the DeFi itself, will grow, and this democratization of access, I think, to investment will explode as a result of these big brands practicing enterprise DeFi.
It goes in the direction what Kyle said of democratizing access to investment, where you can tokenize the invoices and then enable for the public to join into the factoring process to invest into invoices. And what's interesting there about baseline is that you can imagine having a regulatory body that would create a work group which all factoring companies, for example, access, and then just participating in a baseline work group like that is proof to the end investor that this business is sound and that this token that is going to be invested in is sound. It's following a set of regulations provided by the regulatory body and so on. So in that sense, it is really using the blockchain what was originally intended to provide a kind of trustless interaction between the end investor and the company, just by participating in a protocol together. Let's say it like that. The thing you mentioned, the baseline provides this aggregation of value as the steps move forward in the workflow or even between multiple work groups. So in that sense, you can just add your additional specific business value to something that was already generated, and by that increase the overall value of the transaction and monetize in the end.